I mean, just look at the history of our nation. Just look at the history of the world, for that matter. You know, Adolf Hitler, 6 million Jews killed. Hitler caused a lot of calamity, pain, and suffering. Think about all the wars that go on. You know, men do these things, and God has allowed man freedom to create calamity. Look at 9/11. You know, a bunch of idiots boarded an aircraft, hijacked the aircraft, and flew it into the World Trade Center. That's calamity, okay? Because man is free, God allows man to create calamity, pain, and suffering. God did not cause Herod to kill all these children 2 years and under, but he didn't stop it either, because evil men are free to create calamity, pain, and suffering on others. You know, I was just thinking about, you know, the condition of our world today. When you give permission to create calamity to others, for example, when you give Iran the ability to wipe us off, fund the money to build, you know, nuclear bombs that can, chemical bombs that could destroy us. When you give man permission to create calamity, that's not good. That's not good. As far as this deal that we just made with Iran, first Israel will be wiped out, then America. But, you know, and here's the thing. When the bombs fall on good old Uncle Sam, God's not going to stop that. There's going to be Christians dying in the streets, and God, where are you? And God basically says, okay, I've given man freedom of choice to create, but you shouldn't encourage it. You shouldn't give people permission to do this, as we have just done as a nation, where we've given Iran the ability to wipe us off, you know, because of that deal, Secretary of State John Kerry, to basically funding our own death is what's going on. In the middle of calamity, though, Jesus was protected. You see, God's direct hand was involved in this calamity. Why was Jesus protected? Because Jesus was in God's direct line of duty. God directed the calamity. Okay, God directed the calamity. Other examples of this is the Tower of Babel, where God confounded the language. I mean, here were people building this tower, and they weren't building this tower to reach heaven, to reach God. These people weren't stupid, by the way. You know that, don't you? They built that in the lower plains of the land, so they didn't even build it on a mountain. So they had brain cells, so they weren't, the idea I can go up into heaven, that was not the idea. It was like a monument that represented the grandeur of mankind, the wisdom, the intelligence of mankind. And God actually says, look, we got to go down there and do something, because if we don't, anything they have perceived in their mind, they'll be able to do it. So if God had not confounded the languages in a very short time, and you got to understand, God is on a 6,000-year time schedule, but if God had not confounded the languages, that they would have developed air travel, space travel, nuclear fusion, all that stuff, they would have developed that a lot quicker. And so God had to slow down the process. And so God, directly involved in this calamity, confounded the languages. They're walking around, they can't even communicate to each other. You talk about confusion and calamity, we can't even communicate to each other. And so they left off and was scattered throughout the world and went into different places. And the process of development was slowed down with humanity when God confounded the language. But my point is, God was directly involved in this.
Check us out on the web at isthatreallyinthebible.com.